When I first came to the United States many decades ago, I was living for a relatively short time in San Diego and I needed a job, so I walked onto a construction site. My family were construction workers, my family of origin, construction workers and factory workers, all blue-collar people. So I already knew how to swing a hammer. So I went on the construction site and I found the superintendent and I said, "I'm looking for a job, I can swing a hammer." And he said, "Fine, I can give you 4 days a week work, $2.45 an hour." And from that, I progressed to building 42-story buildings.
A lot of people think of developers and they think of, profit factories and we're in it for the money. And that's very much not our style at Laconia at all. And one thing that makes us stand out as a developer is our ability to connect with buyers, connect with property management, really understand from the buyer up what the needs are and to be able to meet those needs. When we start the conception process of a building, we don't just look at what we want to build and where we want to plop this thing. We really study the neighborhood, we study the architecture, community, the needs, and then we build accordingly. So when we are looking at a new building or when we are looking at Spire and that site, we really pay attention to the surroundings and use materials and use art and architecture that complements the neighborhood and really enhances and brings the whole level of that neighborhood up.
Construction is all about doing things right and very carefully and in a very consistent pattern and not hurrying anything unnecessarily and doing everything as it should be done. And I think that's the ethic that construction taught me. Do everything right the first time.
I think passion is kind of one of the most important things you'll see from everybody you talk with at Laconia Development. Everybody brings something to the table and everybody contributes. And I think the opportunity to do that in this environment is incredibly exciting, and it's what I enjoy about what I'm doing here now. We're not just out putting up product, we're actually developing projects that mean something and show well, as evidenced in our projects that we've developed over the last 5, 10, 15 years. Being able to take a discussion we have sitting around the conference room table, driving in the car, walking on a site, putting it into a sketch on a napkin, and then ultimately making it a 42-story skyscraper, a 20-acre apartment complex, working on the wharf in San Francisco, working next to the Space Needle in Seattle, making a concept a reality, and not only meeting expectations, but exceeding everybody's expectations. That's our goal, and it's one of the most exciting things we do.
Our philosophy is that if you're going to build something, it's got to look great and it's got to be great. It's not enough that a project just is successful, say for the development group. It has to be successful for the whole community as well, the people who live there and the people who live around it.
The best part of the development process, hands down, is seeing the building become a home. So the development and the entitlement and the construction, it's a lot of work. And it takes years of time and effort from many people to get a building up out of the ground. And to finally see residents move in, to see kids' bikes on balconies, to see people reading a book inside their apartments, being able to tour a project when it's complete and see the home that has been created is really the most amazing part of building a project.